Nodes in the network, lights on, electric eyes. Starstruck, crawling in the dead dirt. Spread a word to the wise. Something is a-coming, something is a-coming. Silver is the grip of the helping hand. Keep the song a-running, keep the song a-running. Bullet to the heart of the brand. Feed the fire, set me free. In this city of dreams. Push my mind into overload. Hack the wire, smash the teeth. In this city of dreams. We'll be immortal in the code. Mind into overload. Lights flash, taking your breath away. Black spies, neon nights. Car crash, freedom in the disarray. Are you ready to fight? Something is a-coming, something is a-coming. Silver is the grip on the bread in hand. Keep the song a-running, keep the song a-running. Put it to the heart of the man. Beat the fire, set me free. In this city of dreams. Push my mind into overload. Hack the wire, smash the teeth. In this city of dreams. We'll be immortal in the code. Mind into overload. Get up, get out in the city of dreams. Get up, now we're setting you free. Get up, get out, the voice will never die. Feet up on the ledge, running out on the edge. Ghosts in the city of dreams. Feed the fire! Feed the fire! Go! Get loose! Feed the fire, set me free. In this city of dreams. Push my mind into overload. Hack the wire, smash the teeth. In this city of dreams. We'll be immortal in the code. Mind into overload. Get up, get out in the city of dreams. Get up, get out, now we're setting you free. Get up, get out, the voice will never die. Get up, get out in the city of dreams. Get up, get out, now we're setting you free. Get up, get out and shatter the light. Set me free. Woo! I can't wait. My hands shaking, my mind breaking. It's breathtaking.
Yes, he managed to do the whole song and still get the meme in there. Don't know how he managed to do that, but I'm glad that he did. So, yes, I'm here. We had another week, 2 weeks in a row. Holy hell, what happened? Jeez, I'm here. Oh, geez. That'd happen again. Oh, but yes, job working in a loop shop. Yeah. Oil change stuff. Completely different than what I used to do. If we have a vehicle in there for a month at a time, something went horribly wrong because they're only supposed to be there for about 15 minutes. But yeah, so yes, Miracle of Sound is all. So yeah, so here we go. Let us get into the
Stuff like this. Winchester, I need to call you, say, Let's look up call on E621 and see what comes up then.
Oh no.
What a great way to start the stream. Hello,
Yeah.
boys and girls.
Yeah, here, see?
Let's search up random
Oh.
words on E621.
See? Call. I can even post that in this chat. It's great.
I see a bird pouring gasoline on a chair.
Why
Hide the
wouldn't you do
evidence?
that?
Duh.
But yes, so yes, we are here once again. We are doing yet another reading. So starting
Reading.
Readings in a row. Hot damn.
Let's start off with introductions here. So starting off, we have my lovely co-host, Crazy Matt Captain and Sky Rays.
Hello, I'm actually here for once.
Everything is on fire, and I blame Skyrace.
It's entirely your fault, CMC. You're the one that dropped the soap. I didn't mean to say soap.
Alrighty,
He dropped the base. There we go.
and on that bombshell, we're next onto our lovely fanfic editor, Double R Force.
Why is it that whenever I go to E621, it's for the wrong reasons?
Because
Are
you
there
need
You mean you're not looking up porn?
pancakes?
What's wrong with you?
Okay, good. We're this kind of crowd. Okay. That's good.
Where do you think you're going to find your pictures of pancakes?
I don't know, Derby Borer, I guess.
And next up, we have Larsis.
All rise. Now everybody, boop, jump.
What?
Simon,
I think he broke something.
Discipline that I need. Give up my soul. Give it to me.
Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats.
Drop the faith. And since he said something and he didn't tell me not to, Commander Something's hiding in the corner.
You know, we should
Hey,
we should
just
really
quiet,
my
Winchester.
laptop. Fuck.
Just you'll scare off the something.
Yeah, we'll be watching in spirit.
You gotta be stealthy, subtle, like Crocodile Hunter at the very beginning, shit, and then you pound.
I waited for him to say
Or you
something.
just
He
ran
doesn't
right
really
forward.
have to put that much effort. He's got me chained up in a corner. There's your next word, Larsis. Chains.
chains. Okay, e621.net and chains.
How long till you find something you can actually post?
Although, to be fair, I believe rope would be a bit more popular.
No.
Here we go. Here's something I
Leather.
can post. Here's something I can post. That's in the second row.
2 chains.
When's the last time he's been relevant?
About two chains ago.
2 chains ago.
Got my
Since
jokes
when was
suck.
chain
Don't
a
encourage me.
reference of
4
time?
score and 2 chains ago.
Of the chains, by the chains,
And,
for the
and
chains.
you guys said leather too. Let's look up leather and just see what comes up. Well, actually, first image and it's MLP related. Jesus Christ, guys.
Holy crap.
Damn, Zakora.
Hey, I was worried my chat was going to get overrun with furs.
Well, too late.
What, you have a thing against fur fags, Winchester?
Not officially, seeing as I partially am one, but
Yeah, you've done
Yeah,
jobs
he's a-
for fur fags.
Yeah, the problem is he's a closet fur, and unfortunately he's not a DJ, so I can't go DJ a woo on him.
I'm not really in the closet about it. I just like the pony con scene more than the furry con scene.
Can't argue with that because I've never
Hey,
felt
that's fair.
Unfortunately, it feels like the furrycon scene's killing out the ponycon scene, so...
No. The PonyCon scene's just going on its own. The furrycon scene has always been. Don't call it a comeback because they've been here for years.
Well, I'm not saying it's a comeback. But anyways...
But he's saying it's a comeback.
But anyway...
Oh yeah, that's right.
Fest beating out Anthrocon, though?
Yeah, but we're supposed to be reading a story, aren't we?
Yes.
Damn right.
Okay, this week's story is Slavery is Freedom chapter. Oh wait, wrong story.
Mein Kampf.
Sorry about that, folks. This week's story, we're continuing Project Sunflower by Hoopy McGee. I will be your narrator. We got CMC playing Aaron Olson or Sunflower, as well as Apple Bloom. Double R is pulling triple duty as Paul Valchek, Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie Pie. Which means that if he was, one shy pony away, he could actually be Andrea Libman in disguise.
Woo!
It's a really good disguise. Winchester's also pulling double duty as Applejack and Big Macintosh because we typecast him. And finally, Skyrays, Slacker, is only doing Granny Smith. So not really Slacker. This is Project Sunflower by Hoopy McGee. Chapter 5, First Steps. Erin stepped forward through the doorway, bracing herself as the feeling of the ground underneath her switched from concrete to grass. The dim light of the lab gave way to natural sunlight as she looked around her with her heart thundering in her chest. This was it! Ponyworld! The location she was in looked similar to the gentle hills of the first pony picnic she'd seen, though the rich green grasses were long enough to reach halfway up her legs and were dotted with colorful wildflowers. She breathed a sigh of relief when she saw there were no native ponies around. It would be awfully hard to be inconspicuous if any of the local ponies had seen her stepped out of a hole in thin air. The environment around her seemed just as peaceful and idyllic as she hoped it'd be. It was warm, though not oppressively so, the Ponyworld sun gently warming the soft hairs of her coat as she stood in this new world. A mild breeze rustled the grass and the hairs on her mane and tail. The air itself smelled clean, fresh. It reminded her of the fields behind her aunt's farm in Nebraska, far away. This is why you wanted to read this, Winchester, I see now. Farm Antsfield, Nebraska, far away from the smell of cities and humanity. She closed her eyes and breathed deep, some of the tension melting from her as she let the alien sun warm her body. Insects hummed in the air, birds sang in the distance, but otherwise, it was pretty silent. This place was so peaceful and serene, it was like...
Aaron!
She screamed, nearly jumping half out of her skin in shock.
Aaron, can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Velchek, but can you turn the volume down? You nearly blasted my head off with that.
Oh, sorry. How's this?
The voice coming through the implanted speaker in her lowered to a much more acceptable volume.
Better. I'm here in Ponyworld. It's amazing.
She bounced on her hooves, giddy with excitement.
I can see that, my dear. We're getting very good data. We've got the transmitter going full stream right now, gathering live data from all of your implants. So far, so good. The information is coming through beautifully. It's as we expected. Ponyworld is astonishingly Earth-like.
Yeah, it's really beautiful here. I don't think I've ever seen grass this green before.
Speaking of that, Aaron, if you wouldn't mind, could you take a little nibble?
A nibble? You mean you want me to eat some of this grass?
Very much so, if you don't mind. The sensors in your stomach will give us data on the chemical and biological makeup of it as you eat it.
Well, I suppose that's what I'm here for.
With a sigh, she lowered her head and gave the grass between her hooves a tentative bite, then started chewing.
Actually, it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
She swallowed the few blades of grass she had in her mouth.
Glad to hear it. Aaron, as you see new plant life, I strongly encourage you to take a sample of it. The data would be invaluable. And remember, even if it tastes awful, it can't hurt you. You can eat nearly anything organic, remember?
Yeah, I remember. Hey, I think I'll eat this flower now. It looks like a daisy.
She chomped down on it and started chewing. It was actually kind of tasty.
That's the spirit. I'm going to close the doorway now.
Wait, what?
Erin, in a sonic panic, sprayed sprayed half-chewed Daisy from her mouth as she whirled around just in time to see the harmonics lab behind her blip out of existence. She felt a cold wave of panic wash over her. She was stuck here now. No way back, for better or worse, completely cut off from...
Aaron, can you still hear me?
Ah, I mean, yeah, I can hear you.
That was the second time he'd managed to scare her.
Thought you closed the connection.
I closed the two-way doorway between worlds, yes, but I wanted to see if one of the smaller ones would be enough to allow us to still communicate. It's less obtrusive that.
Oh, I see.
Yes, see, the wavelengths between worlds matching up to such an extent that we can create a large doorway between worlds is very rare, and it also requires a lot of energy. Smaller ones, like the one I'm simulating now, come along maybe once or twice a week. I was afraid we'd be waiting weeks before we could collect more data from.
Oh, well, yay, I guess?
Erin still felt a little abandoned.
Why don't you wander around, my dear, and see what you can see? We've got some time before this window closes, and I want to be sure that we utilize it as much as possible.
Oh, sure, of course.
Erin tried to put out of her mind how exposed, alone, and vulnerable she felt on this alien world as she began trotting across the landscape, picking a direction randomly. She looked around herself in fascination. This didn't really look any different from Earth. Small hills, the occasional cusp of trees, a large, spooky looking forest off in the distance. Well, okay, the creepy forest was a little different, but otherwise it was a lot like where she grew up. As she walked, Dr. Velchek would stop her and ask her to take a bite out of some local plant life. In short order, she'd eaten another daisy, some dandelions, some thistles, a wild rose, being very careful not to eat the thorns. It was during this roaming vegetarian smorgasbord that she heard the sound of running water in the distance and decided to make her way towards it. She finally found a small stream that gurgled its way along, and Erin trotted up to get a closer look.
What a lovely little stream!
Erin shuddered at the reminder that even the things she saw were being transmitted back to the harmonics lab. It was more than a little creepy.
Could you drink some of the water, please? For the data?
Oh, sure.
She lowered her head down and took a gulp. She quickly learned a very valuable lesson. When you wade into the shallow stream of water to take a drink, make sure you drink from the upstream, not the downstream. Her hooves had stirred up a silt from the bottom, and she got a mouthful of it.
Oh, gross. It was muddy.
That's wonderful, Aaron. Now we have water and soil samples.
Wonderful, he says, but he's not the one with grit in his mouth.
Erin rolled her eyes.
You know that I can hear that, Aaron.
You were meant to.
His constant demands of eat this and nibble that were already starting to get a little annoying even before she'd sucked up a mouthful of mud water. Still grumbling, she rinsed her mouth with clean water and spat before stomping back up to the bank and clambering up onto the dry grass. She looked around, totally lost before deciding to walk upstream for a while. Erin's irritation dwindling rapidly as she walked, helped along by the feeling of her muscles stretching and warming up from the exercise, while she was simultaneously being cooled by the gentle breeze that the bent grasses around her. It was a picture-perfect day. It was nearly impossible to hold on to a bad mood when it was this beautiful out. Erin sighed, letting the last of her bad mood dissolve as she walked through the idyllic Ponyworld countryside. She had missed this, she suddenly realized, simply being outdoors and walking in the sunlight. This is the first time she'd seen the sun for around 2 months, or rather, an alien sun that was indistinguishable from the one on Earth. First, she'd been locked away from the rest of the interns while she waited to be converted into a pony. Then she was unconscious for a month. Then she was locked away for nearly another month while she practiced on indoor tracks with her new body. They hadn't let her outside in order to keep her a secret. This was the first time outdoors as a pony, and much to her surprise, she loved it. She grinned impulsively, feeling the sudden need for a little mischief. She started at a trot at first, then broke into a wild gallop. She sped along the ground at a breakneck pace, noticing that having her eye line close to the ground made it seem like she was running even faster than she really was, which was honestly pretty darn fast already, and much faster than she was capable of as a human. She started laughing with pure joy as the grass whipped under her hooves, ignoring Dr. Velchek's buzzing insistently in her ear. The landscape of Ponyworld became a new obstacle course. She rounded bushes, jumped smoothly over depressions and rocks, climbed hills, and would suddenly cut in random directions as the whim took her. Her new enhanced pony body responded beautifully, making the physical effort feel like nothing at all. All she felt was the sheer exhilaration of running. She reached the top of a hill and leapt as far as she could, and for a moment she felt like she was flying. Landing, she skidded to a halt, digging furrows in the soil with her hooves as she glanced back the way she'd come. She couldn't even see the stream anymore or any familiar landmarks. She wasn't even sure how long she'd been running, but it only felt like a few minutes, and in that time she was pretty sure she'd run for miles. She was barely even sweating and wasn't even breathing hard. I love this body, she thought joyfully. Finally, Erin sighed and decided to acknowledge Dr. Velchek's frantic questioning in her ear.
Sorry, Dr. V. I just suddenly realized that I'd been cooped up indoors for weeks and decided to take the new body for a test run. Works great, by the way.
Well, that's wonderful, Aaron, but please keep in mind that we've got lots of testing to do in a short time to do it. I'm not saying you can't enjoy yourself from time to time, but at times like this, when we actually have a window open, we should really concentrate on testing.
Yes, Daddy, she thought, but out loud she said.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'll be good.
She secretly resolved to have as much fun as possible while still accomplishing her mission to save both human and pony kind. Smiling and thoroughly pleased with herself, she took off towards a grove of trees she saw in the distance. She moved at a brisk trot, still enjoying the sense of health and well-being this body gave her. And as she got closer, she noticed they were apple trees, heavy and with bright red fruit. Nothing but apple trees as far as she could see.
Wow, neat! Apple trees!
Hmm, yes, they do look remarkably like apples. Do they seem like normal apples to you?
Yeah, they look like perfectly normal apple trees.
Interesting. There must be some sort of parallel evolution between our worlds to allow for so many similarities. You will, of course, be eating one of them, right?
Um,
She stretched her head out towards the low-hanging fruit and then shook her head.
this looks cultivated. Doesn't it mean it's someone's orchard? Don't know the laws here. I want to get along with other ponies, so I probably shouldn't start out by trespassing or being a thief.
Whatever Dr. Velchek said in reply was drowned out as, at the same time, another voice said,
Got that right, Sugar Cube.
What?
I shouldn't be doing this shit.
Winchester, I'm Granny Smith. Yeah,
Ah.
Whippersnapper.
Look, there's a
Aaron-
regular voice and a deep voice, okay? Just go with that.
All right, we're all right for a second. I'm just gonna go PBS because I'm not gonna stop laughing if I don't. Erin eeped and jumped in surprise. There was a native pony trotting around from behind a tree not 10 feet away from her. She had a light orange coat and blonde mane and tail, and she was wearing, of all things, what appeared to be a cowboy hat on her head. She had 3 apples on her flank and spoke with what sounded to Erin like a southern accent. Erin felt a moment of panic. She wasn't ready for this. She tried to remember the cover story she'd come up with and realized her memory was a complete blank. What was she supposed to say? This pony had an accent. Should she talk in an accent? She'd probably sound stupid if she tried. Would this pony attack her for trespassing? Was she going to get in trouble? She didn't want to go to pony jail. The strange pony smiled at her.
I can appreciate folks being honest, though. So as a reward for not stealing an apple, how about I just give you a one?
Erin scrambled mentally as her train of thought derailed.
Um, um, uh, I mean, okay, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Erin grinned nervously back at the other pony. She could hear Dr. Velchek's excited breathing in her ear and found herself wishing with some irritation that she could mute him somehow. She didn't need a distraction from her right now. This was the first contact with alien ponies. The pony walked up to the tree Erin was standing by, turned and tapped it lightly with a rear hoof. A single apple fell out of the tree, which the strange pony head-butted towards Erin. Acting on reflex, Erin snatched it out of the air with a snap of her jaws. As her teeth crunched the apple, the juices ran into her mouth, and her eyes widened in shock. She quickly ate the whole thing, core and all, in a couple of bites and some noisy chewing, much to the stranger's apparent amusement.
Well,
At the same time, Dr. Velchuk spoke breathlessly into her ear.
How does it taste? Does it taste like an apple?
Aaron swallowed and answered them both at the same time.
That was, quite simply, the most delicious apple I've ever eaten in my entire life.
well, now, that's mighty kind of you to say, Missy, even though I know it's true. Sure is nice to hear some pony else say it. I'm Applejack, by the way.
Oh,
Aaron thought quickly. Applejack. She had 3 apples on her rump. So, did pony names and their tattoos have something to do with each other? In that case, she'd need a name that reflected her own. She blurted out the only thing she could think of.
Sunflower. I'm Sunflower. It's nice to meet you.
Aaron smiled back at her warily, waiting to see if the name seemed at all weird or wrong to Applejack. Her fears were quickly laid to rest, though, as Applejack came up, somehow clasped Aaron's right forehoof in both of her hooves and began shaking it vigorously.
Mighty nice to meet you, Sunflower. You've got a nice wandering into the sweet apple acres. Best apple orchard in all Equestria. I don't reckon I've seen you around here before. You new to Ponyville?
Ponyville? Oh, is that the nearest town?
Aaron shook her hoof lightly. It'd gone numb from the shaking. How strong was this pony?
Yup. You'd be able to see it if we were on the other side of the farm. So what brings you to these here parts?
Oh, well, I'm just exploring, I guess. I want to meet new people, see new places. I want to learn as much about
What did Applejack call it? Oh, yeah.
Equestria as I can, you know?
Aaron was glad she was able to tell the truth about that much, at least.
I can understand why. When I was a filly, I thought it'd be a good sight better to live in Manhattan. Of course, soon as I figured out that I belonged here at home, I ain't never looked back. But I reckon you gotta see those sights when you can, so remember what's so important about home. Where are you from originally?
Aaron considered for a moment. Equestria, Ponyville, now Manhattan. Horse-themed names seemed pretty common here. She briefly considered saying she was from Minneapolis, but just to see if that would work, but then she thought it'd be better not to lie. Lie could unravel and undermine any attempt she might make to integrate with Pony Society. Better just withhold information when possible until she learned enough to fake it more convincingly.
I'd rather not talk about that, Applejack. I mean, if that's okay with you. Can't go back there now, anyway.
Oh, I see. Trouble.
You could say that.
Aaron thought of the black tide.
Well, I won't pry, but if you're looking for a place to settle down, then I reckon you won't find anywhere better than old Ponyville. How about we celebrate your arrival by having you join the Apple family for lunch? I was just about to head back that way, and if you're heading to Ponyville, that's in the right direction.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want to impose.
Yucks! It ain't no imposition. Granny always cooks up a heaping old more than we can eat anyways. Come on, then.
And with that, Applejack got off her Valium and trotted off. Aaron stood there for a moment, feeling awkward and afraid, before finally shaking herself and starting after her. As she trotted along next to Applejack, she couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement about being in the company of a non-human intelligence. She kept glancing at her companion out of the corner of her eye. Applejack was a little bigger than she was, probably about 2 inches taller at the shoulder and heavily muscled to boot. She smelled slightly of sweat and dirt, but not offensively so. Not like a pony that hadn't been washing, but more like a pony that had been working a hard day in the sun. As she watched the pony move confidently through the orchard, Aaron felt a little worm of shame nibbling at her soul. She hadn't technically lied to Applejack. Well, not about anything other than her name, at least. But at least she'd been raised to know that a lie of omission or intentionally telling the truth in a way that could be interpreted incorrectly was as good as telling a lie. She sighed, hoping it would all end up being worth it. She could only do what she could, and after all, it was unlikely that Applejack would be the last pony she'd have to deceive.
Aaron, listen.
Dr. Velchuk whispered into her ear, as if afraid Applejack would overhear. Aaron tensed and tried not to show any reaction on her face.
We're about to lose this window. You'll be on your own in a moment, but you're doing great. You've already given us tons of valuable data, including such as the net real name of this world. There's so much more to learn. Remember, take care of yourself and keep a low profile. You'll be.
There was a crackle, and Dr. Velchek's voice cut out. Aaron shivered. She really was alone now, completely and totally cast off in an alien world. The natives seemed friendly enough, at least, but it was still frightening. She thought about her first night at college, off in a strange town and on her own for the first time in her life. This feeling was similar to that, but much, much more intense. At least then she could call her parents if things got too bad, but now she was in a world where she didn't understand the rules and she had literally nobody to fall back on. Well, should things get rough. She should have been terrified. In truth, she was scared straight down the tips of her hooves, but she was also excited and she couldn't deny that. It was a few minutes after Dr. Velchek's voice had cut out that Applejack stopped suddenly, looking to the sky and speaking with a tone of annoyance that didn't match the amused look on her face.
Well, would you looky there? Looks like we're about to get us some company.
She waved a hoof in the air and shouted.
Howdy, Rainbow Dash!
Aaron looked up and saw a light blue winged pony with a surprisingly prismatic mane and tail turning in the air and starting to descend rapidly in their direction.
Ah, there it is. Wow, a winged pony!
She forgot for a moment that Applejack was standing right next to her. She started glancing over her orange companion guiltily to see the look of confusion on Applejack's face.
Sunflower? Ain't never seen a Pegasus pony before?
Run.
Aaron's thoughts scrambled briefly, and she decided that half-truth options she'd been following before would probably continue to work.
No, actually, where I grew up, there weren't any.
Aaron briefly faltered. What was the plural of that? Pegasuses? Pegasi? Or she decided to skip it.
Just regular ponies, kind of like you and me.
Really? Oh, unicorns or Pegasi? Earth ponies?
Applejack's eyes were wide with surprise. Aaron's heart skipped a beat at Earth Pony before she realized Applejack was referring to a type of pony, like the Pegasus types. She shook her head no and was about to elaborate whenever the pony Applejack referred to as Rainbow Dash landed in front of them with a flourish. Aaron stared at complete awe.
Cool!
Rainbow Dash looked startled for a moment, then grinned and puffed out her chest, wings spread wide.
You know it. Hey, Applejack, who's your friend?
Rainbow Dash's voice was rougher than Applejack's, though still obviously feminine.
Rainbow Dash? This is Sunflower. Sunflower, this is Rainbow Dash, who somehow seems to always manage to be just casually passing by when it's about time for the Apple family to take a break and eat lunch.
Yeah, that's an amazing coincidence, isn't it?
Rainbow Dash covered up the blatant lie with an air of complete innocence that Aaron couldn't help but chuckle at.
Does that mean that you're on your way to lunch now?
Yep, and like always, you're welcome to join us, along with Sunflower here, who apparently ain't never seen a Pegasus before.
What? Seriously? What kind of backwater village did you come from where you never seen a Pegasus?
Rainbow Dash was looking at Aaron in shock. Aaron cringed, flushing red, and looked down at her hooves. Was this where everything came crashing down? She already told a lie that would unravel everything and expose her?
I was, ponies where I'm from are very different. I guess you can say it's one of the reasons I left home. I mean, I heard about unicorns and Pegasi, but never seen them in person, and I wanted to.
She kept staring at her hooves. There was no way that would go over, would it? Any second now they'd catch on, call her out, probably run her off.
I'm thinking I've heard of that place. They're a group of Earth ponies all get together and try to do things on their own, without no help from no unicorns or Pegasi, going at it alone if...
Yeah, but who does their weather for them? It doesn't make sense.
Now, Rainbow, Sunflower's my guest. Ray said she don't want to talk about her hometown. I don't want you pestering her with a bunch of questions. Don't feel like answering, got it?
Yeah, but
The light blue Pegasus cringed back from Applejack's sudden glare.
okay, I got it. Sheesh. I still think it's weird though.
Does it help if I do too?
Applejack guffawed at that, and Rainbow Dash chuckled for a minute. It was then that Aaron heard a clanging sound in the distance.
Winchester.
Come on, y'all. That'll be the dinner bell. Race you back to the farmhouse.
Applejack took off running, and Rainbow Dash grinned and ran after her. After a moment of hesitation, Aaron smiled and ran after them. She felt buoyant, almost like she could float through the air through sheer relief. The earlier fear of discovery was gone, or at least greatly muted. The first hurdle had been passed, and she was on her way to being accepted into pony society. Next, she needed a job and a place to stay. Her stomach growled noisily in spite of the sparse vegetation and the apple she'd munched on earlier, interrupting her train of thought. Correction, she thought as she ran. First lunch, then a job and a place to stay. She started laughing as she chased after the ponies ahead of her. A brief pause due to logistical issues on the back end.
I would like to, oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. We got a new guest, everybody. Just sort of showed up. I wasn't expecting her. Say hello, Forrest.
What?
Rain, come on. Oh, you're muted right now. Okay, I see. Okay. Well, there's an unmute button. You could probably click it. Oh, server end. Really?
CMC, fix this.
I don't see a...
All right, I fixed it.
All right, now I can talk.
Yay! Ladies and gentlemen, Forrest Rain. She's going to be on drums, guitar, bass, and vocals.
Yay! Woo!
All right. No more reading. We're going into guitar battle.
Yay! I also have a pickle in my mouth.
But I worked hard on this reading.
No one,
Anyways,
no one's ever said that on television before. What's Forrest actually going to be reading so that we can announce?
So yeah. I tried to bring Forrest here into but before we had to listen to the atrocity that was my Applejack.
I'm literally still in my work uniform, and I just finished shoving a sandwich in my mouth.
I just want to point out that Winchester didn't play Applejack. Winchester played Applejack as if she'd taken a massive dosage of Valium. It was great.
For real.
So the characters that haven't shown up yet would be Granny Smith, Apple Bloom, Big Mac, and Pinkie Pie.
I'll be taking Granny Smith. I believe it's one of those three if you want to, or if you can take Rainbow Dash or I can't speak. Oh my god, Applejack.
For the 3 people who are left listening to the stream, this is the bullshit that goes on before we actually start.
I can do Applejack and potentially Apple Bloom if you want to witness that.
That'd be great. We might even summon Lycan if you play Apple Bloom.
Wow.
Perfect. Alrighty, on we go.
Okay, so Forrest taking over Applejack and possibly not on Valium this time, and Apple
Sugar
Bloom.
cube, sugar cube, sugar cube.
Okay, good.
So
I don't have to try and do a kid voice in the middle of all this.
So we got Forrest playing Applejack and a Forrest playing Rainbow Dash. Huh.
Alrighty, on with the next chapter.
Okay, it says here, what is this weird show? It's like the only thing you know. Chapter 6, Lunch with the Ponies. At first, it was just a friendly run with everyone keeping up with each other, not really straining. But apparently Applejack and Rainbow Dash had a bit of a rivalry going on. One of them would take a small lead, then the other would increase her pace to regain the lead and extend one of their own. Aaron noticed Applejack would glance back from time to time to make sure she was keeping up.
Well, nuts to that.
She decided to show off what her new body could do. She grinned and sped up herself, coming up between the 2 ponies.
Is this really the fastest you guys can go?
Applejack chuckled at that, and Rainbow Dash grinned back.
Oh, you want a real race? You got it.
Both the orange and blue ponies kicked it in a high gear, and suddenly there was a gap growing between them and Erin. She stared after them, momentarily surprised by their sudden acceleration, then gave herself a mental shake and increased her own efforts accordingly. They may be fast, but hers was a body built by the best that Earth science had to offer. The scent of apples was strong in her nose as she galloped along, the sound of the wind and her own breathing loud in her ears while her mane and tail streamed out behind her. Trees whipped past them as they ran, hooves thundering across the soft earth between the trees. The occasional fallen apple turned out to be an additional hazard, requiring some fancy hoofwork to avoid stepping on the possibly semi-rotten fruit. At the speed they were going, stepping on one of those squidgy apples would be like suddenly hitting a patch of ice. It wouldn't end well for whatever pony ended up putting a hoof wrong. Enhanced reflexes or no, Erin exercised extra caution. She'd been a pony for just a few weeks, and she wasn't nearly as graceful as the other two. The three of them burst from the trees, very nearly neck and neck. In the distance, Erin could see a large barn-like structure which seemed to be their destination. No longer needing Applejack as a guide, with no further obstacles in the way, Erin let loose a wild whoop and pushed her body as hard as she could. A wide grin plastered across her muzzle. With her enhanced speed, she was sure there would be no way the other two could keep pace with her. That's why, when Erin almost tripped over her own hooves in shock as Applejack caught up to her and tipped her a wink, Rainbow Dash's prismatic mane could be seen streaming on the other side of the farm pony's head. Her previous grin was replaced by a frown of determination as Erin and her turned her attention back to the race, pushing harder than ever. Her breathing was labored now, coming more ragged and strained. She felt sweat pouring down her back and across her flank. The three ponies shot past a large picnic table that was set up with various foods, Erin barely registering the surprised looks on the faces of the three ponies already sitting on convenient piles of hay in front of the table. By some unspoken signal, that was the end of the race, and they slowed from their gallop into a walk. Erin's knees felt decidedly wobbly as she finally came to a full stop, head down and breathing heavily. For the life of her, she wouldn't have been able to say which of them had passed the table first. It was some consolation to her that Applejack and Rainbow Dash just seemed as out of breath as she was. Nobody talked for a minute or so while the three of them all caught their breath. Finally, Applejack straightened up, pushed her hat back on her head slightly, and looked Erin straight in the eye.
Land's sake, girl, you sure gave us a run for our money. I didn't take you for an athlete when I first saw you, but you got some serious speed.
Applejack's voice blared out of her speaker because she needs to turn down her gain. Erin grinned at her weakly, though.
Yeah, but which one of us won?
I don't know. Does it really matter?
The Pegasus gave her a look of stunned disbelief.
Of course it matters. How could it not matter?
Erin shook her head.
I don't know. I was paying more attention to running than who was in the lead. Maybe we should just call it a three-way tie.
Fine by me.
Applejack turned and started walking back towards the picnic table they'd passed. Rainbow Dash trotted up next to her, snorting and rolling her eyes.
Whatever. Maybe next time we should do a real race. You up for a rematch, Jake?
Ha! You just name the time and place, Rainbow, and I'll be there.
The farm pony looked over at Erin.
How about you, Sunflower? You interested in another race?
Sure, I guess.
Erin still felt a little stunned by the race results. She was supposed to have been modified past any natural creature's abilities. No Earth pony should have been able to keep up with her. She was sure of that. How do these ponies get to be so fast? The supposed survival advantages the scientists had given her suddenly seemed a much flimsier thing, basically amounting to no advantage at all. Erin found that thought a little disturbing. She'd been counting on those advantages to keep her safe. Caught up in her thoughts, with her eyes on her hooves, Erin almost bumped into the table before she realized she'd reached it. She glanced up with surprise to see three ponies looking at her and the others. She didn't have much time to register the other two because one of them, an old green mare with her white mane tied back in a bun, was coming around the far side of the table, scolding the three of them fiercely.
Now look at what you did here, you gutty half-brained bunch of fools. You went and kicked up a bunch of dust all over you victuals. Ain't one of you got a lick of sense in your silly heads? Rainbow Dash, I expect this kind of thing from you, but I reckon I expected more from you, AJ.
The ancient pony then turned her eye on Erin and poked her in the chest with a hoof, saying,
And I don't know at all, but I guess you're just a big block-headed lump as these two idiots here.
Erin started stammering out apologies, but was distracted when another one of the ponies at the table stood up and shouted,
Yeah, making this food?
Aaron stared at the small filly who'd piped up. She was yellow in color, with a red mane and tail, and she was wearing a big pink bow. Whatever apologies Aaron had been trying to make got derailed into mumbles as she stared at the filly, all while thinking, "Oh my god, she's so cute." Fortunately, a shamefaced Applejack started talking, distracting Aaron before staring at the adorable filly turned too weird.
Granny, I'm mighty sorry that we made a mess out of lunch. Tell you what, Rainbow Dash and I'll do the cleanup all by ourselves to make up for it.
What? I I kind of have a thing I wanted to do.
Practicing more tricks?
Well, yeah, or a nap.
I'll help too. It's partly my fault after all.
Now you don't need to do that, Sugar Cube. You're a guest and all.
One of my chopped parsnips.
No, you're a freeloader.
The rainbowed Pegasus stuck her tongue out at her.
It's okay. I don't mind. Besides, I was kind of thinking I should help anyway, what with free lunch and all.
Well, that's mighty kind of you, Sunflower. Oh, I suppose introductions are in order. Sunflower, this here is Granny Smith.
Nice to meet you.
Fiddlesticks.
There was a short, awkward pause, and then the orange pony started with introductions again, this time pointing a hoof at the filly.
This here's my little sister, Apple Bloom.
Nice to meet you, Apple Bloom.
Likewise.
The filly was still obviously annoyed about the dust on the lunch table, but trying to be polite.
And this big lug here is my big brother, Macintosh. We all just call him Big Mac.
Nice to meet you, Macintosh.
Erin was a little intimidated by the big red stallion. Strong as she knew Applejack to be, it was hard to imagine how incredibly strong this guy was. He was much bigger than Applejack to begin with and incredibly well muscled. He looked like he could knock over brick buildings. By accident, he was also staring resolutely at the picnic table.
Hey, yep.
Rainbow Dash leaned over and whispered in Aaron's ear.
He's also single, you know.
Aaron stiffened in shock, and judging by the sudden deepening of the red in Big Mac's face and Rainbow's whisper, had carried a bit further than she'd intended. Or maybe not, judging by the way she started snickering at the stallion's obvious discomfort.
Oh, that's nice.
Aaron really hoped she didn't look too embarrassed right now. Suddenly, she remembered what Dr. Edwards had said about hanky-panky with the local stallions and blushed furiously. Rainbow Dash noticed that and started laughing hysterically, flapping her wings to stay airborne while she hugged her ribcage with her forelegs.
Oh, wow. You should see your face, Sunflower. We could pop popcorn. You're so red.
That doesn't even make sense.
Aaron flushed more heatedly than ever. Rainbow responded by laughing even harder. Aaron glanced around, looking for an ally. Big Mac looked like he just wanted to sink to the ground, which was a sentiment that she shared. Granny Smith, meanwhile, was looking at her with what Aaron was more mildly horrified to see was a calculating look on her face. Applejack had pulled her hat down over her eyes, trying her best not to laugh at the whole mess. She was failing. Little Appleboom was looking back and forth between her and her big brother, looking confused. Then suddenly a look of comprehension flashed across her face, quickly followed by a mischievous grin. Erin wondered about the grin. She decided to study her hoofs for a while until all the laughing blew over and her face returned to its normal complexion. Finally, Rainbow and Applejack stopped laughing enough for the late blue Pegasus to say,
Oh, that was hilarious. And now I'm famished. Let's eat.
Erin, who'd spent the last minute staring at her hooves while waves of embarrassment rolled over her, started walking toward the far end of the table, as far away from Big Macintosh as she could, like to Pennsylvania. Rainbow dashed in front of her. Funny how they worded that.
Oh no, this is my seat. Sorry, Sunflower.
Erin glowered at the smug expression on her face. Applejack was already seated at the center of the table, leaving only one open spot.
Right across from Big Mac. Great, this won't be awkward at all.
Reluctantly, she made her way to the little pile of hay left and sat down, staring fixedly at the table. She glanced up briefly and saw that Big Macintosh, too, was studying the table in depth. Relieved with the lack of eye contact, Erin took her first real look at the food. She was amazed. When Applejack had first invited her to lunch, she was thinking that maybe if she was lucky, they'd have some sort of salads. After all, that's what ponies eat, right? Vegetation. While there were indeed plenty of raw fruits and veggies, what caught her eye were instead were steaming loaves of steaming bread, obviously just pulled from the oven, several jars of jam, piles of greens heaped on plates and smothered in what appeared to be butter, some sort of pasta salad, and most gloriously of all, a variety of pies, cookies, muffins, and other baked goods. Erin swallowed to avoid drooling as much as her stomach growled loudly again. The Apple family dug in, and Erin decided to try a bit of the jam on the warm, crusty bread. Spraying the jam would have been a pretty difficult trick if she hadn't seen Apple Bloom do it first, grabbing the spreader in her mouth and smearing the jam all over a slice of bread. Erin was a little uncomfortable at first using the same utensils that others had just had in their mouths, but then shrugged and shoved her issues aside. When in Equestria, she thought. She grabbed the spreader and plunked a generous glob of the sticky red jam on a slice of bread, balanced on a hoof, and brought it up to her face. Then took a big bite and stopped. Then, with eyes wide with disbelief, not only was it quite definitely raspberry jam, it was also simply the best raspberry jam she'd ever eaten. Like the apple she'd had earlier, this food just made her taste buds sing.
This jam is amazing!
This earned a big smile from Apple Bloom and a mutter from Granny Smith.
Maybe she ain't an idiot after all.
Erin made fast work of that slice of bread and determined she would try a little bit of everything on the table. This was a task made a little more awkward by the persistent questioning of Apple Bloom, who was apparently determined to get Erin's entire life story. Little Philly peppered her with questions like where she was from, what she did for a living, whether she was moving to town or not, whether she had a special sun pony, which triggered another round of blushing and gaze avoidance between her and Big Mac, much to Dash's amusement. How she got her cutie mark. Cutie mark question confused Erin briefly until she realized that the filly was referring to her flank tattoo. She wondered briefly if that term applied to both males and females. Most men in her limited experience wouldn't want to be associated with something that had cutie in the name. Erin did her best to deflect the filly's question barrage until, thankfully, Applejack stepped in and scolded her for pestering their guest. Apple Bloom obeyed her sister with bad grace, pouting adorably. Thankfully, the meal apart from that was fairly low key. Applejack mainly talked about her family, talked to her family about the work that was being done in the South Field that day where Erin had met her. Big Mac ate like a machine, not quickly, but not slowing down for anything. He didn't say much, answering any question put to him with a standard "yup" or "nope." Rainbow Dash mainly just concentrated on shoveling food into her face for a while, then got visibly bored waiting for others to finish eating. Once everyone was mostly sated and reduced to casual nibbling, Applejack asked Erin if there were any questions she had.
Is there any questions you had? What with you being new to Ponyville and all?
She considered that for a moment and then decided to get the most obvious needs out of the way.
Well, as you know, I'm traveling and looking for a place to settle down. Do you know if there's any work around Ponyville I can do, or any place that I can stay while I'm here?
Oh, shoot, hun. If you got here a few weeks from now, we could have used an extra hoof or two for apple bucking. But right now is the slow time for the farm. We ain't looking to hire any extra.
Applejack looked really distressed that she couldn't help, so Erin hurried to reassure her.
Oh no, Applejack, you don't need to feel bad about it. I'm the one who just showed up with no plans or preparations. I wasn't expecting you to hire me, especially if you don't need the help.
Don't worry too much about it.
Rainbow Dash idly flicked a stray pea back and forth across the table with her hoof.
Loads of ponies in town need help. You could probably just look for help wanted signs. As for somewhere to stay, well, I'd offer to let you crash with me, but, Cloud House and all.
Um, right.
Erin wondered what she meant by Cloud House, but was hesitant to ask about it.
Well, odd jobs sound good. That way I'll get to meet a lot of ponies in town, right?
I reckon so. For a place to stay, there's always the Ponyville guest house. You just need to stop by town hall and talk to a clerk, and they'll set you up with a place to stay. It's just a bed and a blanket, nothing fancy, but no visitor to our town has ever had to sleep in the streets. I reckon that'll do you until you find a place you can rent.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks for your guidance.
Now she had a solid and delicious meal in her, a place she could spend the night, and the prospect of work. She considered that things were definitely looking up for her.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Granny Smith startled everyone at the table. The old green mare creaked to her hooves, hobbling her way back to the barn house that apparently was where the Apple family lived. As she walked slowly away, she shouted over her shoulder,
Mind you clear this table, you said, Applejack.
Now I'm gonna go find Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo. We've got some crusading to do today. Nice to meet you, Sunflower.
and with that, Apple Bloom popped her Valium and ran off. Big Max, Big Mac stood up, then cleared his throat, wait a moment, and said,
Yep.
and he walked off as well.
He doesn't talk much, does he?
Nah, he's just shy. Once he relaxes around you, you can't get him to shut up unless you're a caramel apple in his well, unless you stick one in his mouth. Not if you are one.
I think he likes you.
Erin blushed again. She didn't know the Blue Pegasus very well, but this was the first time she'd met someone who took great joy in embarrassing others and wouldn't stop a joke as long as she got a reaction. Lakin.
Now, Rainbow, quit it. Poor Sunflower here is new to town, and you are pestering her, and here you are pestering her like this. Let the girl get her hooves under her before you start pranking her. Give her, at least 2 days.
Oh, sure, fine.
The rainbow maned pony flapped her wings and hovering just off the ground with a way that made Erin's brain hurt the same way it seemed to defy physics.
You got 2 days, Sunflower, then bam! All bets are off.
Rainbow and Applejack both chuckled at this. In spite of herself, Erin joined in as well.
Fine. 2 days it is.
Well, come on now. This table ain't gonna clear itself.
With that, she grabbed a plate in her teeth and, with a deft flip, transferred it to her back. Then she did the same with a couple other plates. Erin stared, amazed at the dexterity she showed. She knew better than to try such a flip herself, though. Instead, she gingerly took a serving platter in her teeth and carefully transferred it onto her back. She managed to stack a plate on top of it. Felt too precarious to add any more. So she left that, and so she left at that, and slowly walked after the farm pony, careful to avoid dumping any of the dishes off her back. Rainbow Dash, grumbling, grabbed up a few more dishes of her own, balancing them on her outstretched wings rather than her back, and trotted past Erin.
Come on, Slowpoke.
Erin, still afraid the load on her back would shift and fall off, decided to maintain her slow but steady pace. She followed the other two into a charmingly rustic kitchen, up to a large sink where they divested themselves of their burdens. Washing dishes as a pony turned out to be quite an interesting experience. Following Applejack's lead, she'd hold a dish in her forehooves, balancing her legs on the rim of the sink while holding a scrubbing brush in her mouth. Rainbow Dash took a couple more trips to gather everything up on the table and then asked politely if there was anything else she could do, since there wasn't any more room at the sink. Applejack rolled her eyes and told her she could go, at which the rainbow maned Pegasus grinned, said goodbye, and flew off. When they were all done washing up, Applejack took some of the leftovers, including a small pot of jam, wrapped it in a small towel. She put down on the counter next to Erin, saying,
Here, take this with you. Least I can do is make sure you got a decent meal ahead of you.
Oh, Applejack, you don't have to do that. You've been so generous already.
Oh, shucks. It ain't a big thing. Consider it a welcome to Ponyville prison if you want. Now, I gotta get back to my chores, but I can point the way to town if you'll just follow me.
Erin undid a flap on her saddlebags, grabbed the package the generous pony had given her, and placed it inside. There was barely any room for it, but she managed to get it in there without squishing the bread too badly. Then she refastened the flap and hurried after the orange pony, who pointed a hoof.
Now, if you head up the road that way, you'll find Ponyville. Won't take you more than a half hour at a good walk. Now, I gotta get back to work, but feel free to stop by and say howdy once you get set.
Thanks for everything, Applejack. And please, thank your sister and Granny for being next to you. The food was really amazing.
I'll be sure to do that. Oh, and when you get to town, say hi to Pinkie Pie for me.
What?
You'll see.
She waved her hoof in farewell and trotted away back towards where they'd first met. Erin smiled, feeling much more relaxed about being in Ponyworld, rather make that Equestria, than she had earlier today. The locals were obviously very friendly, and the situation was looking up. Humming an aimless little tune, she turned and walked down the road toward Ponyville. The road on either side of her was brimming with apple trees at first. Then those abruptly stopped as she left Sweet Apple Acres property. The land returned to the familiar fields, and she was starting to think of this as the default landscape for the area. She trotted along briskly, taking in the sights and sounds, reflecting on how beautiful it was here. She'd been in the countryside before, but everything here was so vibrant, so alive. Like the plants on Earth, just a little less color than the plant life here. After a short while, Ponyville proper came into view. She had plenty of time to look at the town as she approached, noting the rustic design of many of the buildings, thatched roofs and all. Some of the buildings looked really odd, though. Erin stopped trotting for a moment, deciding to get a closer look at the town before heading in. She concentrated briefly on the cybernetic implants, and her eyes responded. She activated the telescopic feature, and suddenly the faraway town jumped up close. The town was arranged around a large building that she took to be Town Hall, with a river flowing nearby. Erin would have to cross a bridge to get to it. Ponies were wandering around, many with saddlebags. She saw a few unicorns for the first time since she arrived, some of them levitating things around, walking through the town. There also seemed to be an open air market, which Erin resolved to visit immediately after she stopped at Town Hall and got herself a place to stay for the night. The odds of finding work were probably much higher in the marketplace than anywhere else. Most of the buildings followed that same rustic pattern, but a few were odd. There was a shop that looked for some reason like a jester's hat, another that looked like a crazy gingerbread house. Contemplation of all these buildings was suddenly cut short as her long-range vision was cut off by a wall of pink.
Hi!
Yeah!
Erin stumbled backwards in shock. With her concentration broken, her eyesight returned to normal, and the pink wall in front of her resolved into a grinning pink pony with a slightly darker pink mane. The pony was staring at her with blue eyes from under her wildly curly mane.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. You were just staring at Ponyville for so long, I thought maybe you were scared to go in or something. And I wanted to let you know it was okay, since every pony in Ponyville is super incredibly nice and friendly, especially me. And I tried waving at you, but I guess you didn't see me, which was weird because I was just right over there. So you must be new in town, since I don't know you, and I know every pony in Ponyville. Hi, I'm Pinkie Pie.
Erin stared at her in shock. The pink pony rattled all of that without even stopping for breath. Wait, did she say Pinkie Pie?
Applejack says hi.
Oh, really? That's neat. How can you tell? Do you have super duper hearing or something?
No, I just met her on her farm. She gave me directions to Ponyville and just say hi when I saw you. So, hi, Pinkie Pie. It's nice to meet you. I'm Sunflower.
Hi, I'm Pinkie Pie, but you already know that. It's nice to meet you, Sunflower. Are you going to be staying in Ponyville?
Well, if I can find work and a place to stay, I will.
Erin eyed the strange pony warily. Pinkie was bouncing on her hooves as she talked, clearly extremely hyper.
Great! I'll have to throw you a surprise party. But for now, I have to go see Applejack about getting some baking apples for Sugar Cube Corner.
You don't have to wait. A surprise party? How can it be a surprise party if you just told me about it?
Oh, silly. I told you I'd give you one, not when. That's a surprise.
Okay. Well, it was really nice meeting you, Pinkie Pie. I've got to get to town hall and see about getting a room at the guest house. Is it the big building there?
Erin pointed with her hoof. The pink pony aligned herself alongside her and squinted down her leg as if she was setting down a rifle barrel.
Yep, that's it. It was nice meeting you, and I'll see you later.
Pinkie turned barely had taken 2 steps when she suddenly stopped and stared at Erin with a surprised look on her face.
Uh-oh. You twitch? Itchy back? Rumbly tummy? My Pinkie says it's telling me that some pony's keeping a major secret from me.
Erin stared at her blankly. Pinkie sense? Pinkie looked away from her towards Sweet Apple Acres.
Applejack.
Her eyes narrowed with suspicion. Then she turned back to Erin. Her eyes returned to their normal, giddy friendliness.
Well, I gotta go see what humongous secret Applejack is keeping from me. Bye for now, Sunflower.
And with that, and while humming a happy song, Pinkie Pie bounced down the road in the oddest gait Erin had ever seen a pony use. She shook her head in confusion, then started to walk down the road to the town ahead. There was one thing for certain, judging by the pony she'd already met, her stay in Ponyville was going to be interesting, and at a Holiday Inn Express.
Yay, we're done.
But I want to go to the DoubleTree.
Well, go. Oh, this. What does this look like? Everfree?
But I have fucking Hyatt points.
Well, we are. Ponyville is next to the Everfree Forest.
Yeah.
Could be worse. Could be the Motel 1, which is like Motel 6 except shittier. It's a converted prison.
Good.
Sounds like home.
Why couldn't it have been this week that I got shit faced before the end of stream like last week?
Great.
Because Forrest was here and transferred the Valium from Applejack to Apple Bloom.
Well,
Damn it! Now the lid broke on my fucking whiskey bottle.
Oh no.
That just means you have to drink it all.
How could this happen to me?
I made my mistakes.
This happened to me.
Got nowhere to. I can't. Okay, I'm laughing too much. That was good. I was
already in the
Why,
circle.
but really, you're not.
Can I say that Skyrays is like the scariest Granny Smith? Skyrays is like the Granny Smith that would like
Yeah.
knife you in your sleep.
Oh,
Stab me.
Considering I met Skyrays, I'm just picturing him going, "Hi there, I'm Granny Smith."
And I just broke the back.
Well, howdy there.
Go to bed.
Skyrays is the Granny.
Go to bed.
Skyrays is the Granny Smith who has a red balloon and gives you candy from a sewer drain.
We all float down.
Hey,
We all float down here.
I
Is
can't
the-
do it now. Damn it!
the lid for my
I
empty
can't
Wild
do it.
Pegasus bottle is the same size.
You
Yay!
screwed me up.
Good.
Hey, you young whippersnappers.
Yeah, Forrest, I'm gonna have to play you the outtake from when I first did the Applejack voice.
Uh-huh.
I know.
He did it, and I just could not stop but laugh.
I thought it was
We had
him.
to take like a
Just moving the
2-3 minute
microphone.
break after that.
Forces have to go full PBS mode in order to calm
Yes.
himself down.
This presentation.
Hold on. You know what? I bet you
This
I got it
present-
recorded. Hold on.
This EBS presentation of Winchester Wednesdays was brought to you by the Sparkle Foundation, the Spectroscopy Society of Canterlot, the Corporation for Pony Broadcasting, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
And you're listening to BBC Radio 1.
And I've got whiskey.
Are you
Hey,
Aerial
we got
Soundwaves
11
and this is
viewers.
Are you Aerial Soundwaves and this is Ponyville? Actually, Commander up there might actually yell at me for saying that one.
Lincoln's Pure Rock. 1041 at the Blaze.
I'm sorry, you're taking a nice draw from your bong.
Just here smoking big joints and Amish country.
This ASMR moment has been brought to you by The Brony Show. Thank you, and have a great day.
Forest ASMR.
ASMR. This is the sound of me touching my mane. Oh, things got weird real quick.
Winchester, play Wonderwall.
I don't even know what the fuck Wonderwall is.
And I wonder why.
Not that Oasis song.
Right now, now.
Forrest, play Wonderwall.
I can't. I have push to talk enabled. I'd have to hit the control key with my foot while playing guitar and trying to make up lyrics because I don't remember.
Next
the
up,
song.
we go on a tour of Forest Rain's studio. Here are the guitars on her wall, her drum kit, her calliope.
The M32 is now a calliope. There you go.
And her electric hurdy-gurdy.
This is the sound that it makes when you start spinning it.
I can't even take a fucking drink.
Don't
Do you think you're
die.
allowed to take a drink?
Supposed to take a drink every time we say pony.
You're not able to take a drink when we're... There's a
Pony?
hurdy-gurdy to have!
Yeah, so,
Hey, Forrest,
Next.
First, it's great not being a AV lead at conventions anymore, I gotta say.
Isn't it great to not be AV lead at conventions?
This is
Isn't it,
Drunk Forest Rain sings her own music.
isn't it wonderful to not be in charge? When you learn to relinquish all control of your vessel, I will take it over and kick you out of an airlock.
Oi,
Okay.
oi, Forrest, the dawn is mine.
The dawn,
Yeah.
Madonna?
the dawn of time.
No, the eternal dawn.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I wasn't referring to your vessel. I was referring to Commander Something's vessel.
Ah.
What have I been dragged in? Because I'm
They're wanting
I'm
to know what
commenting on
vessel
your
you're
vessel.
commanding.
Don't worry, we're just talking
Whoa.
shit about you behind your back while you're in the call.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you can commandeer that vessel, please let me know where it is. I still haven't found it.
Oh, it's don't worry, it's in the impound lot just outside of Trenton in New Jersey.
It's the
That's
one that
fine.
has the gigantic aft.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds about right.
Is it also called the USS Decisus?
No,
By
it's
the
the
way-
USS Desi's ass.
Winchester.
Together we
I
can
so
fix
happened
the-
to clip that moment, and now it's permanently ingrained into the server.
Oh my god, I am watching now.
Together we can fix the aft. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Please tell me you got my reaction afterwards in there too.
I shouldn't be doing this shit. I love the video.
I need to work on my impression of that.
I shouldn't be doing this shit! Sugar cube, sugar cube, sugar cube! Sugar cube?
Hello there. I am Granny Smith.
God damn it, my shotgun's upstairs.
You know,
whippersnappers.
Forrest, we need to get the nut button.
The
The
nut.
nut
What?
button.
Yeah, the nut button.
What's the nut button do?
It's a button. You press and it goes nut.
Oh,
No, nut.
Huh?
There.
nut. Hmm.
Press the button, bust the nut.
Oh god.
So if you press the button, does that mean you nutted?
Damn
Yes.
right.
I don't like where this conversation's going.
Yeah,
You're
I
not in
just
control anymore, Winchester.
need to look back for more Applejack lines and then do it like Winchester.
and now we're going to leave this stream off on the roast of Linus Sebastian.
Like this line.
Ah, shucks, it ain't a big thing! Consider a welcome to Ponyville present if you want! Now I gotta get back to my chores, but I can point the way to town if you'll just follow me!
Forrest, I need you to breathe deep from this cloth here.
I'll set it.
Forrest, I need you to bring your gain down like 10 or 20 dB.
Nah, it's closer to about 6, but that's beside the point.
I know, my mic's already down at 30%. I need to bring it down to Gilbert Gottfried levels.
Which mic are you using?
The Logitech webcam mic.
Oh.
Really, with all those goddamn mics around, that's the one you're using?
Look, Ming, the one that I would normally use. Why am I stuck in Applejack? God damn it! I'm just gonna have this draw for the rest of the night. But just so you know, the reason why I didn't use that mic is because it's over in that closet over there. So I would have to take it out of that closet and put it over here by the computer in such a way that I can still see the screen and talk into the mic at the same time. And I can't do that.
So-
And the rest of the mics
so-
aren't even hooked up to
so-
the computer.
So what you're saying is that very first year that you did join the herd at Cider Fest and had Winchester's hat on, that's how you're going to be the rest of the night?
Yes.
Awesome. Just making sure.
All right.
Wait, wore my hat at Ciderfest and join the herd?
I'm pretty sure you threw the hat at me and it just flew over my head and I didn't even know.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I think that's that con.
Yeah. Yeah, we were all kind of drunk at the time.
Yeah.
We're drunk all the time. What do you mean?
No.
I think I'm pretty
Oh wait, no,
Like-
that's just me.
Well, in the immortal words of Joe Walsh, I only got drunk once for 14 years.
Yeah, it's a fair way to put it.
What do we call that period of time? The brony fandom.
Yeah, so
because of course you have to be drunk to watch him.
so
The other option is we're going to visit Forest State. We're going to eat some very interesting candies and then rewatch season 1.
Oh god, not again.
For the record, Forest Rain moved to Denver, right?
yep,
Wait a
all
minute,
aboard
Winchester's done this
Colorado.
before?
Dude, look, the ponies are talking.
Okay, so sorry, mid vape. Actual, look, when I vape, I sound like Kylo Ren. Here,
Not wrong.
come to the dark side, Ray.
Oh my god! No.
You don't need it.
But no, so like true story. A long time ago, back in whenever I first joined the fam, like 2012, 2013 or something like that, I was still living with my friend Jeremy and got pissed drunk the one night and started watching ponies. And I was just like, dude, the ponies are like 3D, man. And it was just because he had a very large TV and I was drunk right in front of this very large TV. So all the ponies suddenly jumped out of the screen. It was a much cooler story in my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it could be worse. Could be Tim looking deep into the eyes of the guy on stage, and then they.
Oh
nodded.
yeah, we made eye contact and then he nodded. It was the most spiritual experience I've ever had. Cool, Tim. Cool story, bro.
It was a meaningful nod.
That nod meant everything.
No, I just love I love the sheer amount of determination he put into, and then we nodded.
Well, since I'm too lazy to find the actual one that I had made up for you, you get this.
Oh, hey, look at that. It's going to be noticeably cooler in Tempe tomorrow. It's 10 degrees cooler at only 108.
What are you sharing? I don't know what you're sharing.
Well, if you look on stream.
How did...
He's telling me to go.
I don't even know where the stream is.
He's telling me to go on E621 and look up nut. Let's
It's
see what I
there.
get when I type in nut.
Nut.
All right, so I just tuned into the. Oh, I can't
Here,
tell.
look.
What am I looking at? Oh, look,
Hey.
nut.
If you look at
nut, you got to find a single nut.
And now Coldust has joined in the chat.
Well, I see a bunch of single nuts. They're just not the kind of nut I can possibly post in this server. Oh,
Guy
wait.
found one.
Wait, here we go. I got it.
It's a coal dust.
This is a lie.
I still don't see anything on stream.
Now you should. I was meaning the fact that I don't have the image that, or I
Oh, you
couldn't
don't have
find.
like the cute little forest rain, but you got the
Yeah,
cute Desi forest rain.
there
That's
you
something
go.
that might work.
There you go. We're back to EOH, guys.
You know, I still have my old icon around somewhere, but I kind of like the fact I look so perturbed at the fact that I got dragged into Winchester Wednesdays.
I have your icon as well.
I mean, the good news is I'm being gently spooned while this is going on. So.
On top of my head.
Okay, then.
In his ear.
His ear. I was just about to say the same exact thing.
Well, I
guess
gave
I'm
some
about to go
artist
near
too
full
much.
then.
Well, I gave some artist too much artistic freedom and let him present my ass to the camera for my main.
Nice. Is that why you cut it out so that we wouldn't see any crack?
Actually, no, it's BRB, but I just So I just wanted a banner image, not a be right back screen.
Jeez, I wonder what kind of asshole artist would make that. I bet they're a real jerk. It's a good thing they're not around right now. Hi, Winchester.
Speaking of
I
yourself,
sense
now,
sarcasm.
hold on.
It wasn't me, never. I'm not guilty. There's no proof.
Do we get to switch into reading Klopfix and Gilbert Gottfried's voice now?
Oh
Yes.
God, no.
Sure.
Do you want an edit with a crack?
No.
Good,
And
because I don't think I have the file anymore.
Slavery is Freedom, Chapter 2.
Yeah, just tell me which fic you want to start, and I'll get it edited for next week.
50 Shades of Grey pony version.
50 Shades of Hay?
spreads her legs.
That is on
Didn't
FimFiction, right?
Wait, didn't Gilbert Gottfried do a reading of 50 Shades of Grey
Yes.
legitimately?
Yes, he did.
How about we just play Gilbert Godfrey doing This Day Aria?
This day was going to be perfect.
Oh no! You think he's kidding? We actually showed that video at BronyCon.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, 1 sec.
Send it for
Wait,
later
who was that
viewing.
guy?
I was gonna say it totally doesn't exist anywhere. At
I'm
all.
going to watch it on repeat to get to sleep.
Beat you to it.
Where the hell is that video?
Oh, look at that.
So wait, how did
Oh
they?
my God, he actually did it.
The timing of that picture right after that.
Okay, so for real, who asked Gilbert Gottfried to do that song?
My goldfish, obviously.
I said for real.
My goldfish, obviously.
Is it all that hard to believe that Gilbert Godfrey's a brony and he just did it out of the good graciousness of his heart and he thought it would be fun?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, actually, here's the thing. Gilbert Gottfried is actually a bit of a fan of the My Little Pony fandom, but it spreads from his podcast that he has, where he was introduced to My Little Pony in the funniest fucking way ever. His first video that he ever saw from My Little Pony fandom was Smile HD.
Nice.
Nice. I just
Sorry,
sent
so-
Forrest a video. I just sent Forrest a video that isn't the one we were talking about, but it's hilarious anyway.
Hmm.
He just all silent, goes silent like we're all.
Huh. Huh. Hmm. Ideas. Ideas are flowing.
Careful there, don't want to get a hernia from all those flowing ideas.
What other ones do? Oh, that's actually pornography. Why is that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh
I
no.
sent Forrest this one just for reasons. This one I actually can share with the class. For I figure out where the class went. There we are. I'm in too many goddamn Discord servers.
Yeah,
I'm in
thankfully,
35.
Discord is updated, so you can now sort your servers into folders. The more you know.
Burr, 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 burr.
For people like me who are in 35 servers.
35? You think I'm in that few? Last
How
count,
many am I?
last count I was in 62 of the things.
I have like 6 tabs here with like 1, 2. I think I'm at like 40.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, you got a lot. I thought I had a lot.
Oh yeah, Bernie Code Memories. I like that one.
I'm in so few.
Oh yes, that one.
You know, it's funny. Callum looks surprisingly like Senshi in that photo.
Wait,
So I took
is
I
this
had
during the concert or is this just during sound check?
That's during the concert. Don't you see Odyssey dying behind us?
Yeah, I was about to say because I couldn't tell if he was killing himself during sound check or during the concert. He usually does it at both.
Not at BronyCon. Yeah, and also I pulled the Senshi pose this year, and we didn't trip the breaker for the subwoofers this time.
Yes, we did.
Not during that scene, we didn't.
Not during that scene.
Yeah, I would say we did it once.
During the first rain boom.
Yeah, we did during the first rain boom purposely because we were actually trying to break the breaker. And the second time, right before we opened main events hall because we wanted it all to smell like burning carbon.
Okay, so real talk. At Denver, we had a PA with at least 8 regular subwoofers and 2 infra subwoofers in the frickin' Crown Plaza DIA. And we did a bass test halfway through the day. 2 ballrooms over was the vendor's hall, and we were knocking stuff off the shelves.
Also,
Somebody made a tweet that was like, so I'm in the vendor hall, they're doing a bass test main hall, stuff is getting knocked off my shelves, and I feel physically ill. Neat!
oh, by the way, we actually figured out something too, Callum and I. There was a reason that the rain boom didn't sound as powerful on that system.
Because it's in a gigantic room?
No, it didn't sound as powerful because the way Senshi balances the system, the way Callum balances the video rig are different. And on top of that, we accidentally sent him the wrong rain boom file.
Yeah, we had the like 3 gig file or whatever. The little one.
Yeah.
Not the 40 gig version.
You mean the 140 gig. It's actually 138 gigs.
Okay, so that one, not that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one we use.
Uh-huh.
Pure, raw, unadulterated gigs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You should see
anyways.
you should see what Luna does with those.
So, anyways, before we incriminate ourselves with more things, oh god.
Oh yeah, I have a recording of Cirrus doing a doing a sermon at BronyCon as well. That's great.
And on that bombshell.
And on that bombshell, we're ending stream. So shout out. So we'll start with Forrest.
Which one?
You.
Yeah, which one?
The one that falls from the sky.
It's always rain, isn't it? Huh?
It's. I mean, it depends on where you live. In Portland, yes. My shout out is Dead air is great, you know. So shout out to Noise for obscuring dead air. Yup.
Alrighty, next on to Coal Dust. Or not. Next on to Sky Rays.
Not.
Okay. Next on to Commander something.
Something.
Alrighty, next on to Double R.
Shout outs to everyone else having actual stories to tell. I am the most boring person because I'm the most boring person in existence. I don't have stories.
Hey, no. You're in line behind me.
Well, next on to the most
Get on my
interesting
level,
goldfish
guys.
in
The
existence,
cabin
we have
should be the
Larsus.
third floor basement.
Shout out for me, Skyrays. You got me covered there.
Not.
Thank you.
And finally on to CMC.
Skyrays.
You can have a
Not.
cold us instead.
Alrighty. And
Wait, what did I miss?
your shout out. Goodbye.
Not.
Why was I muted? Dive.
That was CMC's shout out. Alrighty. Thank you all for showing up. I'm sorry that you all had to endure this horrible thing of whateverness. And
Not.
Look at the blue that covers the sky. Look away, then shield your eyes. The future's looking bright. It takes away your sight, yeah. Lay in the sunlight. Just sit back. Just sit back. Follow your mind or follow your heart. Follow the leader out of the dark. Your energy will drain. It's more than just a game, yeah. Forget the sunset. Just relax. Just relax. just make up your mind, it's getting pretty late. There's still some time to play, yeah. Time waits for no one, don't you know? Don't you know? Hope the best, prepare for the worst. Listen a while or read your words. You think you're pretty tough, it sounds simple enough, yeah. When it's all over, come on home, come on home. Roll through the grass, run with the wind. Wake up and greet yourself with a grin. Dry up the rain, count up the days. Wash all your thoughts and troubles away. Bathe in the light, 'cause summer's begun. That's what it feels like under the sun. That's what it feels like under the sun. Roll through the grass, run with the wind. Wake up and greet yourself with a grin. Dry up the rain, count up the days. Wash all your thoughts and troubles away. Bathe in the light, 'cause summer's begun. That's what it feels like under the sun. That's what it feels like under the sun.
Thank you all for showing up. It's been fun. This is 572 going 10-7. I'm out. Bye.